Tioman Island is a paradise nestled in the South China Sea, 32 kilometers off the east coast of peninsular Malaysia. It was discovered by seafaring Chinese and Arab traders around 1,000 years ago. Divers explored the depths of its clear blue waters to discover an array of exotic marine species and coral gardens. Apart from all its lure to tourists, this island is essentially home to a close-knit community of people that are born here or those who have chosen to move to this paradise to make it their home. In 2015, one such person who took interest in this island was the marine biologist Alvin, Chelliah, who chose to make Tioman his home. Originally from Kolej, Malaysia, Alvin has dedicated himself to safeguarding the marine inhabitants of Tioman. When people first heard of the proposal of the airport, the majority thought that it would be very bad for the island, so they took to social media to voice out their frustrations about this airport. However, there were mixed feelings as some people saw this airport as a beneficial development to Tioman, who has been relatively untouched in recent years.
The construction of the airport, the runway itself, which is going to be about 2.5 kilometers by 45 meters, is going to be on reclaimed land. Yeah. So all the seabed in that area, whatever is currently there, that's going to be buried.
When I heard about that airport project, I have a mixed bag of feeling. For the better part is that finally there's some development has been introduced to improve the economic values of Tioman Island, right? By expanding or introducing more flights into Tioman with more tourists there, then the tourism industry in Tioman might see a positive increase, right?
We do recognize the importance of economic development, tourism, but at the end of the day, we know that the bottom line is that it's an attraction. Tioman is valuable because of the marine park.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't make sense to destroy that in order to get more tourists, and the numbers will just be too much.
As you can see, the airport will completely inhabit the immediate reef and beach of Genting Empire, and will destroy not only the marine life, but also the livelihood of the islanders, as dive centers, fishing operations, and resort businesses will all be severely affected by this development.
On the reef, a lot of marine life use sound. So some of them use sound for defense, some use sound to communicate. Things like fish larvae use sound to come back. Like once they're spawned in the deeper waters, they use sound to identify where the reefs are and come back to the reef to grow up like a nursery. So all these functions would be disrupted.
Locals on the island, meanwhile, were up in arms and begin their own publicity campaigns to halt the mega project.
Airport, yeah. Basically, if they do an eco study, there's a lot of stakeholders, and these are the ones that produce oxygen, and we breathe oxygen. Why you want to take something away that is good for human, right? By destroying it, you might say it's a little bit, but no, it contributes.
Because I know the airport will be the worst thing ever will happen in Tioman. I know because I already studied and I already have research on it. Really bad. That's why I don't want the airport in my place my home.
Scientists across the country engaged the media to shed light on how such a project could have a ripple effect on the island and its people.
So 7 years of construction, as you mentioned just now, they do have some mitigation projects, mitigation steps while constructing that airport, right? So that mitigation is very much isolated for that project alone. Right? So if you want to look at the macro sense of the carrying capacity of the island, during the construction there will be an influx of tourists and also the construction worker.
Yeah.
So will there be a problem whereby the carrying capacity of the island, the resource to support everyone during that period of time, will it be sufficient?
As the minister in charge of the environment, that's my utmost priority, right? To ensure that, again, not to stop all development, but to ensure that development is sustainable in a very holistic way. I mean, we go through, every week at cabinet meetings, we have decisions to make. And of course, there are times when, we have to trade off here and there on one matter or another. And that's the reality of things as a government. But I think, what I've been very grateful is that one is that personally the Prime Minister has been very supportive. I mean, he understands, of course, he will ask the questions, why can't we do an airport? Why can't we do this? But the moment I gave the justification, I think that was, he understood that. And then also I think the input, particularly at that time from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and the region of Pahang, they also understood of the need for sustainable development, and that one of Pahang's strength is, of ecotourism and all that. So again, without the eco, then there's no tourism, if you want to talk about ecotourism.
It is also important for locals and the custodians of the reefs themselves to understand the science behind conservation.
It is important for the custodian, reef custodian, not just the reef custodian, but the general island custodian, to understand the ecosystem of the whole area. Because nothing is a standalone ecosystem or standalone habitat, right? If you have a destruction on the reef, it might ripple to the land. And you have development on land, it might have effect to the ocean. So both will affect the income and also the sustainability of the general island.
The media as well played a crucial role in the prevention of the airport, as many netizens from Malaysia took to social media to voice out their frustrations about the proposal.
What has been very inspiring is to see how the youth has been at the forefront of things. People always talk about, we need to raise awareness among the young. But I think on the other hand is the young who's actually at the vanguard of change. They are the ones who are driving things and actually sometimes even raising the awareness of the older generation, right? So I think it's positive, and definitely, I mean, when you are as a policymaker at my level, sometimes a lot of this becomes very dry, very there's just so much detail that sometimes you can't go in depth into every single issue. But when a certain issue is picked up by civil society, when it appears on my social media, I can't pretend that it does not have an impact.
The project did eventually come to a halt, and no construction ever did take place due to the constant activism from everyone working together to protect the island. The whole conservation campaign, spearheaded by Smalltownsmy Malaysia, reached thousands of people, and as a result, many people now have an idea of how important islands like Tioman are.
I think the video helped garner attention, so it got people to realize what's happening in Tioman, and that got people to move. So that is the main impact that we had, I feel.
For now, we are trying our best, right, to evaluate the value, the intrinsic and not so direct value of certain islands, especially at the ecosystem services. So from there, we can provide a more holistic calculation on whether to develop a place, will it bring in more benefits for the short term and the long term sense.
Times have changed. Now we recognize we have a triple planetary crisis. We recognize that the world is having a very short time to ensure that we can save the planet. So I think we need to keep up, and that's what the government is doing. We are in the process of we are starting first with increasing the penalties and punishments for environmental crimes, but then this will be followed through with an overall. This will come very soon. It's already being brought to Parliament, but the part 2 of it will look at a substantive review of the Environmental Quality Act. Wow. Because I think we need to look holistically, how to make that legislation relevant for 21st century with the opportunities and challenges that we have today.
Alvin Chelliah, with the help of powerful conservation communication, has helped protect Tioman Island and thwarted this development from ever breaking ground. Together with organizations like Smalltownsmy Malaysia, Reef Check, and many others, they show us that resilience and persistence always pays off. The success we witnessed in preserving the integrity of Tioman Island is something that can be emulated by conservationists and scientists fighting to save the environment. It is only through climate communication that the call for climate action can take place far and wide.